The ancient Hebrews do not think the same way we do. They have a different form of logic. Therefore, you can't apply our logic to the text. You must be willing to sometimes look at the text illogically. And by illogical, I mean from a perspective that may be contrary to our own logic. When we look at verbs like throw, shoot, teach, learn, and reign, we see different concepts and ideas that are unrelated. However, each of these are translations of one Hebrew verb, yara. This may sound illogical to us, but in Hebrew thought it is very logical. The verb yara does not have a multiple of meanings. Instead, it has one meaning with a variety of applications. The verb yara means to point, and that can be to point an arrow, which is to throw it or shoot it, to point your finger in the direction one is to go, that is to teach. One who follows the direction pointed out learns. When you see rain in the far distance, it is pointing out where water can be found. When we come to a verb like bara in Genesis 1:1, it is usually translated as create, and it seems illogical to translate it as fattened or filled, as I have done in the mechanical translation. This makes absolutely no logical sense to us. In order to make sense of Hebrew verbs, we must understand that each verb can be written in one of 7 different forms. The pa'al, also called the call, the piel, pual, hifel, nifel, hofel, and hitpael. It is often assumed that each form changes the meaning of the verb, but as I will demonstrate, this is not the case. They are not different meanings, but slightly different nuances of the same verb. To keep this simple, let's stick with just 3 verb forms: call, hifel, and nifel. Call verb is the simple form. The hifel is the causative form, and the nifel is the passive form. Let's take a look at 3 forms of the verb yada. In Psalms 9:20, we have the call form of the verb yada. Let the nations know that they are but men. In Psalms 105 verse 1, we have the hifel form of the verb yada, which is make known his deeds among the peoples. And in Psalm 79:10, we have the nifel form of the verb yada. Let the avenging of the outpoured blood of thy servants be known among the nations. Now let's take a look at the 3 verb forms of the verb ra'a. Here is the call form in Genesis 1:4. And God saw that the light was good. In Habakkuk 1:3, we have the hifel form of the verb ra'a. Why dost thou make me see wrongs? In Genesis 12:1 is another use of the hifel form of the verb. Here it's translated a little bit differently though. Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. Now, does that mean that the hifel form of the verb ra'ah means something different, to show? No, it means to make see. But we translate it as show because that makes more sense in English. So really this is saying to the land that I will make you see. And then in Genesis 12:7, we see the nifel form of the verb ra'ah. So he built there an altar to Yahweh, who appeared to him. It almost would seem like the verb ra'ah can mean to see in the call form, to show in the hifl form, and to appear in the nifl form. However, like we saw with the hifl form, it means to make see, but is sometimes translated as show. Here, it's the passive form, so it means was seen by him. So he built there an altar to Yahweh, who was seen by him. You see, we still have the concept of seeing in all three forms of the verb, but it's simply translated as appear in this verse. Now here we have the three forms of the verb karav, meaning to come near. In Exodus 12:48, we find the call form, the simple form. Let all his males be circumcised, then he may come near and keep it. Then bring near to you Aharon your brother and his sons with him. Notice that the call form, the simple form, means to simply come near. The hifl form is causative, to bring near, to cause someone to come near, literally. And then in Joshua 7:14 we have the nifl form. In the morning, therefore, you shall be brought near by your tribes. And here again is the passive form, brought near. Okay, let's recap these three verbs.